A few weeks ago we jumped back into 0 Hour and made a video about what the devs had been working on and how the game has progressed over the last year. Since then, a massive update patch was released that includes a ton of features, customization options, and new tactical mechanics. Geez, it might be a grenade.
Oh!
No!
Sorry. Oh my goodness. You okay?
Yeah, I walked through a grenade like a dummy. Today we're heading back into the tactical world of 0 Hour, specifically to take a look at the most recent update that's been added to the game and how it's impacted the overall gameplay experience. If you're not familiar with 0 Hour, it's essentially a tactical SWAT first-person shooter, and it puts a unique emphasis on following lifelike rules of engagement, tactical realism, and slow, methodical gameplay. For the most part, we've been playing the co-op PvE missions, but the game does provide players with the option to face off against each other in team-based PvP. Originally released in August 2020, 0 Hour had a bit of a rough start. However, since then it's steadily grown into a real competitor in the tactical FPS market, and one that we've both enjoyed jumping into. In May this year, the dev team launched an update titled Operation Black Dawn. This update brought with it an AI overhaul, procedurally generated object placement, improvements to weapon customization, and much more.
As Bias has mentioned, B7 Productions has added a host of changes across the game. Some dealing with issues that plagued the experience previously, as well as some really nice quality of life and updated features. First thing to say is how pleasantly surprised we were by the difference in gameplay. Without even highlighting the changes, things are clearly improved. Across all modes, we now have procedural prop placement, which honestly is a huge thing for this game where replayability is such a big part of the gameplay loop. This really helped to make each round feel fresh, particularly for co-op where you get to feel like you're actually improving, rather than learning the mission inside out. There is an updated interface for gear attachments, now with tabs for rails, sights and barrels. Rather than some of the old default options, you can now pick between things like IR sights and flashlights, making you focus more on team strategy, whether you might cut the power for example. Tapping your teammate's shoulder now adds this new communication layer, themed around the stealthy, slower tactical gameplay where the tapped player gets audio confirmation. Useful I guess when playing with other random players. However, Bias and I didn't find any particular use for it ourselves. With some updates to aiming and situational awareness, the aim down sights are improved so that you can now press a button to choose the zoom level, giving the player more control over that option. And free looking while keeping your aim in one direction. A really cool idea that I personally haven't found any great use for, but these things need time to evolve and may be core to the gameplay in the future. The loadout selection phase duration has been increased to provide more time to sort through your equipment, something that Bias and I both seemed to need in previous playthroughs, and at times wasn't even enough after this update.
I'm gonna go AK.
Oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Utility.
Yeah, I didn't get enough time.
Did you get NVG?
I don't even know. I was just focusing on the pistol. That's all I really care about.
John Wick. That's cool, don't worry.
I think at this point it points to us being slowpokes more than anything, but I don't see the need to rush this phase at all. I feel like in a team mode like this, you should have ample planning time with maybe a ready check option for all players. When everyone readies up, a 3-second timer could play and then you're all in. Speaking of time, a cosmetics store is now available in the main menu, offering a number of watches for your player that can now show a variety of stats depending on the watch. Currently there are also bracelet options too, and none of it adds any gameplay advantage, so I'm all for this level of customization. PvP has had a pretty decent revamp. The scoring system now encourages team play elements rather than just kills, lowering the points you get for kills and awarding points for shielding teammates, and higher scores for defusing the bomb and saving hostages. They also award points for not fully draining stamina, which at first sounds a bit constraining, but again trying these things might slowly evolve the PvP experiences in a particular direction, and this will certainly encourage the slower, more methodical gameplay. A few changes have been implemented to remove spawn peeking. Bulletproof glass was added to certain areas as well as locking some doors during the preparations phase, so that access is only granted when the game starts. On the co-op side, some new maps were added, Paradise City and Residential House. Come and check our Let's Play videos on those if you want to see what they're like. This came with the inclusion of new objective types, securing documents and laptop intel, a good start in adding variety to co-op in general, but also introduced a few issues that hopefully are resolved over time. For us at times when defusing the bomb there was no indication that it was actually defused. It was still ticking away for me and I could interact with it repeatedly. However, Bias couldn't see it on his screen and the objective to defuse it said completed, so there was a bit of confusion there.
You can't see this box. This bomb.
No.
Nope.
On this same note, we had a few times where the hostages were duplicated on one screen and not visible on the other, adding to this occasional confusion.
There's a hostage here as well. I bet you won't be able to see this hostage. Do you mind checking?
Where?
Just here.
No.
Okay.
The gameplay for co-op in general for us has made an incredible positive shift in implementation, improving on some of its core features and adding depth, allowing the mode to really start to take shape. Previously, the whole rules of engagement system, although great in principle, just didn't work for us. Animations were too instant to tell if an enemy is about to shoot you, but you receive a penalty if you try and secure the kill a moment too early. Now these aspects are made really clear. If you outnumber an enemy and approach them from behind, they'll surrender. You can then secure them with zip ties to ensure that they don't get up and take you out. There are now clear tell signs that an enemy might try to fake their surrender.
Cheeky boys.
But shooting the hand will make them drop their gun and give up.
Oh, look at that.
Seen him.
Yeah, I shot him once and he gave up.
And if you're having trouble looking for a few of the last suspects, you can interrogate captured ones to find out the whereabouts of the rest. And finally, the sound implementation really caught our attention this time too, with genuinely terrifying and I assuming realistic death sounds, and with audio echoes from the environment you're in, they've managed to add even more immersion to these maps. What we were seeing with this update is the potential we always thought was possible with 0 Hour starting to come to life. It's really great to see ideas being implemented and features having these extra layers of depth added, and truly made us enjoy working through each mission.
You don't have night vision, do you? I've got the power pack here.
No, I don't.
Okay.
It was N, wasn't it?
G. But G is...
Oh.
Might be a grenade. No!
Sorry.
It might be a grenade. He says 3 seconds too late.
What did you do to this guy?
I wrecked him. To us, 0 Hour is going from strength to strength. And what started as a rough around the edges tactical experience is slowly getting the polish it needs to lift itself up in the tactical genre. With the latest update comes a massive improvement in the overall gameplay experience. The AI overhaul means that the previously one-dimensional surrender mechanic now adds the complexity of not knowing whether a surrender is real or if you're going to end up in another firefight. Taking a look at the level design and the addition of procedural generation, this to us was a great choice by the dev team, because now you can't rely on the same tactics for the same maps. Sometimes stairwells will be blocked off or entry points barricaded, cover will be in different places, and enemies will spawn in different locations. All of this variation adds the need for adaptation and improvisation, and is something that keeps the PvE experience fresh and interesting. To add to all of this, the ability to customize weapons with attachments allows players to create the loadouts they want to match both their playstyle and the demands of each individual mission. Overall, 0 Hour seems to be doing a great job at keeping updates coming during early access, and we, alongside many of the game's fans, are excited to see where the game goes as it approaches full release. Let us know in the comments what you think of the game, or whether or not you agree with what we've said. We're the Bullet Sponges, and we'll see you in the next one.